Yeah, so when I started, I didn't say my background. I've done my PhD in molecular medicine, and I did my project on HIV and AIDS, and also my postdoc I did on HIV. And one of the things we were doing is looking at why some people don't get infected with HIV. I don't know if you heard of the Manchenko women. Yes. So that's the oldest cohort that has been researched on HIV. So the University of Nairobi has been working very closely with other collaborators to look at that. And somebody has asked why DRC? And I think if you may not know, even Ebola is a river in DRC. So the virus was called after that river. Marburg is also a virus that is thought to have originated from DRC. So for me as a scientist, what I can say is that the uniqueness about DRC is it is one of the biggest rainforests in the world. And right now, the deforestation that is happening there is at a very alarming rate. And so we are thinking that people are encroaching into habitats that hitherto were just for animals. Even HIV is closely related to SIV, that is human immunodeficiency virus. And it is thought, and even we normally do what we call relatedness studies, that is phylogenetics, where we compare, just like if you took all of us, our DNA here, and we did phylogenetic analysis, you'll find some of us are closely related as compared to others. So like SIV is very closely related to HIV. There have been theories, people have a lot of theories, but as a scientist I would say I will stick to the evidence that things that are evidence-based. There's a lot of talk out there about the origin of HIV, the origin of these viruses, but the evidence we have that we can be confident to speak about is that these viruses, most of them are endemic in this forest. Unfortunately, we are encroaching on that land, on that habitat, and that's why we have these cases happening. And then the other question that was asked is information that Kenya seems to be ill-prepared dealing with mpox. And that information campaign is key. Our colleagues from staff talked about that, and I agree with him that one of the things we are doing is we are developing IEC materials that are important for people to see, like if you're told handshaking is one of the ways you can get mpox, then people should stop handshaking, for example. And so these communications are being sent out there. We're also sending out communications on how the samples should be collected, because there's a facility where we receive a sample from, and when we asked the person how he collected the sample, he told us it was a nasopharyngeal swab. So they collected a sample for COVID to be tested for mpox. So sometimes you collect the wrong sample, you get the wrong results. And then, thank you so much for reminding me that it is when a man dogs a bite. And a man bites a dog. You see, like now that you see. So yeah, we continue doing what we do, hoping that one of these days we will also. Maybe we should do that. Maybe we should bite the virus. And then I think somebody has asked about adaptability of the equipment that we are using. And I just want to say, like, for example, the equipment we use for diagnosis for mpox, like what we refer to as the PCR machines, they are the same equipment. So when you are looking at viruses, what changes is there's something referred to as primers. A primer is a short sequence that is closely related to what you want to detect. So like for mpox, we have primers that look like mpox primers. And even there are some cases where we have actually collected samples for suspected to be mpox, but we found out it was chickenpox, because some of these primers are actually cross-reactive. So you can still amplify the same thing, but when you test for it, you find it's a different virus. And then also we have what we refer to as metagenomics. Metagenomics is a field where we're actually able to take unknown things and test and find out what they are. So the thing I can say now is that we have equipment that are highly adapted to the different tests. But I also want to say that during COVID-19, remember we were given so many vaccines towards the end, and most of them expired and we lost them. So it's also important that even as we are getting vaccines like for mpox, we only take if there are donations, it's fine. If you are buying, you only buy those that are a number that we can use within a certain period. Somebody has asked why are we receiving mpox vaccines? The question I would ask is why not? Because we want to prevent ourselves from getting mpox. So there are two types of vaccines. We have the therapeutic vaccines and we have the preventive vaccines. So we are receiving, in most cases, we are receiving the preventive vaccines because probably mpox can change and become something else that is very highly transmissible. So at least we need to be on guard. Our immune system should be able to deal with the viruses. How many of you have heard about the HPV vaccine, human papillomavirus vaccine? And that vaccine, now it's being given to young girls. Personally, I have 3 teenagers who are girls, and the question people have been asking me is that, are you sure that this is a vaccine or it is a birth control thing? I don't know if you've heard about that. Yes. Yeah, so the thing that people like us should be doing as scientists, when we get donations, or whatever it is, or we are buying something, it's important for us to test it and find out whether it is good or it has side effects or whatever. People have asked about the COVID vaccine. Something that I don't know whether you are being told, if you're going for the vaccine for COVID, first of all, if you have underlying conditions, for example, if you have cancer, or you have had COVID in the last 2 weeks, or you have a medical condition, you need to talk to your doctor first. You have that. Yes. So that's something that many people forget. Because if you had COVID in the last 2 weeks, and then you are vaccinated against COVID, the vaccine will react with the infection, and in many cases you have an adverse reaction. There are cases of we've had people had clots and so forth and so on. And again, I normally say from the medical field or the research field, it's important for us to do the research and find out these clots, were they related to something that this person had an infection and they were reacting to it or not.